and this is going to be me going back to my roots a little bit, and I'm going to be doing me. And I figured I would go back and recap it over this past 2 weeks and let it sink in because I've been having a little bit of a rough time, and it kind of hit home to me when I actually ended up picking this book up out of all the books that she done gave to me over the years, and it was speaking to me. So I figured I would go ahead and share this book with you. And it's one that I will say it would be perfect for someone who likes picking up a chapter and reading it and taking their time, or they just want to remind themselves of certain things that sometimes we kind of take for granted. And this book is called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, dot, dot, dot. And it's all small stuff. Simple ways to keep the little things from taking over your life. And it is by Richard Carlson. And one thing that I will say about this book is it brought back a bunch of little like anecdotal things that my mother would say to me. And it really made me take a moment and take pause and take seriously some of the questions that it asks you to ask yourself. So, number one, I would recommend this book. I would, because it was actually worth the read. It's one of those little things that you can actually sit on a coffee table and you can go jump up into and read and not get too worn out by it, not have to over process it, not to think too hard on it. And I have to say I actually enjoyed it because it's one of those books that, even though it is old, it is very much up with the times in the seriousness and yet the lightheartedness of how things are actually laid out, simple and plain for you to actually put in the context in your own life. So if you've actually read this book, feel free to actually comment below about what you thought about it. And basically my perspective on it is spot on. It is spot on about how sometimes in our society things are not taken for what they are. Sometimes we uplift certain situations that honestly, if we took the moment or the time to actually look at them for how they actually are, they wouldn't be so sought after or raised up the way that they are in some situations. And honestly, being stressed out and worried and have all these levels of you being anxious and things like this on an elevated level is not exactly the most healthy thing. To some degree, sometimes, yes, it can be a motivational thing to have a little bit of stress, or you're thinking and ruminating on things so that you can actually better your situation. Yeah, that's a good thing. But I think that this book will help anyone actually balance out some things and take a really close look at their own self and formulate a plan on how to better yourself. And I think that's one of the cool things about reading different books and understanding and learning someone else's point of view, regardless if you agree with it or not. It's really nice to have a different perspective on something. That way you're not just stuck in one way of thinking. The other thing that I think is really cool about this book is the fact that even though there are some moments when I was reading it, I was like, oh, that's just common sense. When I was running this by someone that is a friend of mine via the internet, I found it really interesting how different our opinions were on the same types of things. And I've been learning a lot more about learning to agree to disagree with someone in a very respectful way and actually learn from the fact that this person has a different or varying opinion from mine, or honest, or they know something that I don't know, and it's a learning experience. I actually prefer being around a different and it might inspire me to actually go and see whatever it is they're talking about, or go and try out something new, or I'll learn about a new hobby or a new book or something just from asking. Sometimes one of my favorite things to actually bring up in a conversation is no question is too stupid to ask. I would rather ask a question and actually know the answer, or actually get pointed in the direction of actually understanding something, than to remain ignorant to something that could have actually helped me later on in life. So honestly, I hope this review was interesting, or if you never heard of this book, you might go and pick it up and find it interesting too. Let me know what you think about it. And I by no means have been told or paid to actually talk about this book. This is just something that I picked up, and I remember my mother gave it to me, and I remember how I initially thought about it when I was younger versus now that I'm older, and I'm still very much appreciative of the message that's inside of that book. So I hope everybody's doing good, staying blessed and feeling well, and I will see you all next time. See ya. Bye.